Thanks for coming, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started with my presentation here. I've been asked to start off by having a few announcements. If you're out there and you have a cell phone or some other electronic thing that makes noise, turn that off, turn the ringer off, please. Number two is they're going to be giving out review forms for my session. Even if you don't fill those out, don't leave them in here. Please take them out. They'll collect them even if they're blank. It just helps them keep the room tidy and get on with the session afterwards a lot easier. And then if you could, those of you on the outside, they asked me to have you try and slide into the middle so that if people come in later, they can drift to the outside. But I'm flattered they think we're going to pack this room with these empty chairs, but they asked me to tell you to move on in. So I'm awesome. Get close. So I'm here to present today to talk about Unity, and I just wanted to go over, I've really only got like 5 main things that I want to talk about, as you can see. Just some basic introductions so you know who I am and who our company is. Then, of course, talk about the tool and the technology, because that's what we're really all here to hear about. And then that's going to include some demos and whatnot. And then I'm going to talk about a few success stories, people that have done well using Unity to target the iPhone and iPod Touch. A little bit of what's next. Those that follow us know we put out some really big news yesterday, so we'll talk about that. And then at the end, I'm going to leave it open for some Q&A. We only have a half an hour, so I don't know if we're going to get to everybody's question. I will hang about outside afterwards and answer every question everyone has until we all go home. So if you don't get your question asked in here, don't worry about it. I'll be right outside. So we'll talk. So to start, I just want to give a brief bio on who I am so you know who the heck is up here talking. My name's Tom Higgins, and I'm the product evangelist for Unity, which means I do developer relations and community management. I also do a lot of other things, marketing and PR and sales. I work with a lot of departments. I'm a lifelong game junkie. One of my earliest childhood memories is walking into a UA5, a movie theater in Santa Rosa, and seeing an arcade game. No, it's not loving memories of hugging my mom or my grandma. It's about seeing a video game. In my 6th grade school picture, I had a Coleco Intellivision console contest shirt. So I worked for 8 years at Macromedia and Adobe, and I did that all in Director and Shockwave. So I come from a history of working in tools and multimedia development tools. Obviously here at Unity, this is a bit new with some of the mobile side of stuff. And I'm employee number 5 at Unity Technologies. We now have something close to 70 people. So I've been around since not quite the dark ages, but the early ages. So I can answer just about any question about our company or history or our directions. I've already kind of talked about what I do. I don't want to go on too much. Just the last line. I'm here to help developers as a product evangelist. So I've got a stack of cards. I'm going to be outside. I'm here to be your contact point with the company. Bugs, features, sales issues you're not getting help with, whatever. I'm here to help you. So not only am I going to present, but use me as a resource ongoing. Do a quick flyby on the company. We make this Unity game engine and authoring tools, and our kind of current buzzword is democratization of game development. I usually don't like saying that. It sounds too, marketing speak, but it's about putting powerful tools in everybody's hands. And so, when I talk about Unity and Unity iPhone later, I'm going to talk about approachability, ease of use, low barriers to entry in terms of, feature difficulty as well as costs and licensing. It's really our goal to empower everybody from, the EAs and the Cartoon Networks on down to the 15-year-old kid sitting at home that wants to make his first game and put it out on the web or the iPhone. So, and of course we do that across a number of platforms, consoles, mobile, and web. And we'll talk about some of that later when I talk about Unity 3.0. We were founded in Denmark. We started off in Copenhagen in particular, and we've now grown to have 5 offices around the world, plus a number of scattered individual employees, a lot of remote working staff. And we did most of that on our own dime. So, if you're talking about a proprietary technology and going to it and up and coming, you're worried about stability. Not only were we stable based on core sales, but we now have Sequoia investing in us for long-term growth and acceleration. So, we're here to stay, and we've got this dream that we want to make some really cool game tools. And you can see that's our company photo from our Unite conference. And there's a lot more of us now. So Okay, so let's get on with the show. That's the basic introductions. We're going to talk about Unity, and I'm going to start off and run through some slides, some talking points, and then at the end I'm going to go in and do some demo stuff and actually show you the editor and some usability. What is Unity? And I want to make a clear point right now. I'm talking about Unity in general. We actually have two different products that are out there. There's Unity and Unity iPhone, and you get one license, but they're two parallel applications. And so Unity lets you target the desktop and the web, as well as down the line if you do Wii or console development. And it's a multi-platform development environment with our engine rolled into it. And what's nice about this, instead of just giving you like a lump of source code, is you can work inside the editor, and we get to use those phrases like ease of use and approachability, because when I show you the editor, we're going to talk about the features that let a designer come in or let a programmer and a designer work together and do that efficiently and each cater to their own skill set. Somebody that wants to do all code can do that. Somebody who wants to use all visual moves in the UI can do that as well. And then, of course, you can do live previews right inside the editor. And you can do that with the iPhone as well. And, I've got my laptop here. Obviously, I can't touch my screen or tilt my laptop. So I'm going to show you how we solve that problem of doing live preview inside the editor and actually getting iPhone or iPod Touch input into there. And the cool thing that we like to talk about now is that there's over 100,000 registered users. So if you're thinking about joining Unity, there is a massive community out there. It's worth noting that last October, we had something on the order of about 10,000. In last October, we made our base Unity license free, and we've had 90,000 people join the fold since then. So we have a large active community, people that span all skill sets and job roles and developer types. So just about everybody's welcome in the Unity community, and you can come in and find someone and talk to them about what you want to do. So everybody's welcome. The editor itself, I mentioned there's the two editors. Unity for desktop and web development is available on Mac and Windows. It's important to note we're here to talk about iPhone and iPod Touch, and that editor, Unity iPhone, is available on Mac only. And the reason behind this is that we actually, when you build out of Unity, and I'll show you later when I actually create a build, we just create an Xcode project. Apple's legal requirements have you going through Xcode to actually make the application that you then submit to the App Store or do ad hoc distribution. And so to fit within their requirements, Unity exports an Xcode project, and for that reason, Unity iPhone is Mac only today. I'm going to talk about where we're going with those editors and are we going to combine them or not, and maybe what that means about going cross-platform or not. But for now, you have to consider that it's a Mac-only development process. And then, as I mentioned, you can add on the iPhone publishing and Wii. And as of yesterday, we announced PlayStation 3 support is coming, last October, Xbox. So Unity is a tool that's going to let you target a wide range of platforms. Just to back it up with this, because anyone here ever heard the phrase author once, deploy anywhere? Few people. It's a key goal for us to have you be in one tool and deploy anywhere. So don't ignore this. Even if you're creating an iPhone game, we have the Unity web player. You can show this content in a browser on the web. It's got a lightweight, seamless install. We've got something over 25 million web players that are out there, with folks like EA using it to bring Tiger Woods online. So as you're creating your game and you're looking at something for a mobile device, just remember that you've got the web and the desktop at your disposal as well, and you can create experiences that come from all those different platforms and do it from within one editing environment. So you're not having to switch tools because you want to go web versus iPhone versus desktop. Unity lets you author once and deploy anywhere. It's kind of an idealistic goal. Of course, you have to tweak things for the platform. But it's a key value add that we offer that nobody else out there does. And then on the web player, 1 million plus new installs. I got corrected on this number today. It's 1.5 million every month right now. So the number's changing rapidly. So that's the high-level overview on what Unity is. It's this development tool. I want to give you a few provisions about what Unity is not. Generally, we don't like to limit your expectations. Unity is very powerful, flexible, and robust. But there are a few things that it's not intended to do, and so you need to have that clear so you know what other tools you're going to need to buy as part of this. Unity is not meant to create pre-rendered images or video clips. right? There are plenty of tools out there if you wanted to make your own personal avatar and you wanted to sit there and render that out. That's not what Unity's for. Yes, you can extract that kind of media, and it's great for promoting your game. It's just that's not the main usage focus of Unity. Second to that is that Unity is not a modeling or art asset creation tool. Sure, you can create boxes and capsules and some very simple primitives, and we have a terrain and nature rendering engine, asterisk, not supported on the iPhone. Sorry. Other than that, you're going to have to use Maya, 3D Studio Max, Blender, Cheetah 3D, any tool that can export to FBX, you can use that with Unity. Any art package, Photoshop, Fireworks, GIMP, you name it. We support all the basic bitmap formats, again, export to FBX. So, you can choose your external tools, but you're going to have to do that. Unity doesn't provide those in there. Unity is where you assemble it all, add your scripts, and create your game content, right? So those are the two things that Unity is not. Outside of that, you can think about whatever you want to do. And people have come up with all kinds of creative uses, from data visualization and architectural visualization to games to advergaming to training and simulation. It's pretty wide open, and our license doesn't restrict you in any way. So you're free to go ahead and create the kind of content you want and put it out there. So only two limitations on what Unity is not that I'll ever mention. So what is Unity iPhone, and how does it relate to all of that? That was a lot of desktop and web talk. Unity iPhone is a parallel application, shares the same license. You buy your Unity with Unity iPhone added on, and you're going to have these two apps sitting side by side, one that publishes desktop and web, Unity iPhone that goes for iPhone or iPod Touch, right? Seems pretty straightforward. Again, it's fully integrated with the engine riding underneath it, so that you can do these live previews inside the editor. And again, I'm going to show you how we get input in there. So you don't have to create your build, put it on a phone, check it to make sure you like that speed setting for the little car game you're making, go back into the editor, tweak it, create a build. You don't have to do all that back and forth. And we don't do this via a simulator. We run inside of our editor, or you run on the device. So we're not compatible with the simulator inside of Xcode in particular. But it works out really well, and I'll show you an example of that. And as of today, there's over 500 Unity-authored games on the App Store, and counting. I mean, every day we get another 5, 6, 10, 12, depending upon the day, people posting on our forums announcing games that they're creating. So we're currently like the dominant middleware solution on the iPhone. And we're not just winning in numbers. I'm going to talk about some success stories at the end. The quality and success of the content that's coming out from Unity developers is pretty inspiring. We'll talk about one, Mika Mobile, and it's like two people that had a hit game from last year because they just had a creative idea and Unity just let them run wild with it. Again, we do very well on the App Store in terms of success for Unity-authored applications. So that's where we get the title, Fastest Path from Concept to App Store Sales. Sorry. Okay, so that's slide time, and what I want to do is show you Unity in action. I cannot possibly cover everything that we might want to show about the editor and the kind of things that you can do or that it allows you to do in terms of workflow. So I'm going to touch on a few kind of key things, again, that address that ease of use and keeping the barrier of entry low. And anyone who wants to see more, we're an exhibitor in the expo hall. You can come get as in-depth of a demo as you want. You can talk to me outside. We've got some folks with the table set up right outside as well that have a desktop iMac. So we've got a lot of people here to show you all that you want, but we're going to have to keep it brief in here because we're already down to like 10 minutes. And most importantly, I'm going to show you that live preview inside the editor. So this is where I actually do something cool, like show you the editor. Ta-da. That's Unity. And I'm going to give you a quick tour of the windows that are there just so you know what you're looking at. And then I'm going to show you a few of our cool usability features and again, things that really make it a flexible development environment. So in the upper left, it's what we call the scene view. And, anyone who's used to using a visual modeling tool is going to find this very familiar. It's where you place, rotate, scale, manipulate. You do the physical building of your world as you're constructing the environment, right? And you do that by just dragging items from your project view. This is like your source folder. And you can literally just drag and drop items into the world. So in this case, let's grab something interesting. And Sure, we can grab a particle collider as if we're going to be making another one of these little blue balls. And you see, I can just take it and drop it in the world, and then I can begin placing it. So again, visual designers can step in and assemble a level, tile, bricks, and whatnot. So the scene view is a visual representation. Project view, bottom in the middle, is your source folder. And then the hierarchy up here is a list view of your same scene. So you can parent-child things all together. Again, all doing this visually. So none of this has to be code-based. Yes, you can do all of this code-based. If you wanted to read from data and build your entire scene from an XML file, loading assets on the fly, sure, you could do that too. Right? If you wanted to go all out and ignore the editor, go for it. We're not going to stop you. But the real power of Unity comes in this kind of visual assembly of the scene. And then you'll notice down here on the bottom left, this one looks a little different because that's your actual game screen. So what the user will actually see. And in this case, we've got it cropped to an iPhone wide format. If I was going to make a game that was going to be vertical, I could set it to vertical and it could have it switch. Let's do that real quick. Again, it's just a simple little drop down. Of course, our UI doesn't fit because it's assuming a horizontal layout. And then, I'm just going to hit the play button here. You notice in the bottom left, play button. I'm just telling the editor to go ahead and run it. And you'll notice that the scene is moving. It's just doing a little intro animation. It's telling me to touch to start. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But, if you look up top, you notice the little speakers moving. So while you're in the editor, it actually gives you a debug view of the scene that you're working in. Right? So you're not just limited to the game view and having to figure out what's going on. You've got the game view and that scene view. And then one of the most important things in Unity on the far right over here is what we call the inspector. It's context sensitive, so whatever you have selected, it shows you data about that. So, I can select a particular model, and up in the top, you might not be able to read it, I don't know, unless you have eagle eyes out there. It shows your basic transform information, position, rotation, scale. And then down below it, it shows what we call components. Let me give you a little terminology in Unity so this makes sense. Anything that exists in the game world is called a game object. Anything you attach to that to give it functionality is called a component. So a camera is an empty game object with a camera component. A light, empty game object with a spotlight component, a point light component. And then your own scripts are components as well. And I'm going to show you this one, and then, again, we're running short on time, and then I'm going to go show you the remote, because that's where it gets cool. The inspector not only shows scripts and things that are there, but I want to find something of interest because it's actually fully editable. I'm going to cheat and jump ahead my demo here. I'll come back to this in a second. I just want to get the player instantiated. One moment. 2 moments. Okay, we'll let that connect. What I'm going to do is, let me select something that actually has some properties exposed. Okay, you know what? Let's do this. We're going to go off the script. You ready? Unity is really cool. All the assets in your project folder, it's watching them. When they change, Unity will automatically reload them and show them. So while it's playing, I'm going to make a new script, declare a public variable in it, attach it to an object, and then use the inspector to set that variable's value. Never stopping gameplay. And hopefully I don't completely ruin this. By the way, JavaScript, C# are available for use on the iPhone. Desktop also supports Boo, which is a version of Python. So easy to use, familiar scripting languages that you can just adapt to. If you are using our JavaScript option, you do have to use strict compiling, which means you have to type your variables and whatnot. So it's a little different than coming from the browser, but still very approachable and easy. So in this case, I just created, can anyone read that? I just created a new variable called demovar, and I actually committed this in I'm not supposed to do. And it's a string that says hello, right? And I'm going to save this. I'm going to go back in the editor, drag it onto something. Again, we use all visual drag and drop. And now my script shows up here, and you notice my variable appears, demovar, and it says hello. What if this is a script that determines how a car behaves? Do you want a dune buggy or do you want a Formula One car? Well, if you could just tweak these variables and never go into the code, that'd be pretty sweet, huh? Well, you can. So in this case, I'm going to change my string because I don't like hello. I'm going to make it say goodbye. And I just changed it visually. So again, the programmer gives the level editor, the artist, the scripts. They never have to look at any source code. All right? And now let's go out, and I'm just going to show this reloading to prove it's true. Unity is watching this script. I declared another variable. It's an integer, value 5. I hit save. And I go back into the editor, and you notice how it automatically appeared down there. So this is all while the game is running in the editor. So Unity is very flexible. You can do this with textures. You can change a texture, flip out to Photoshop, change some levels, come back in, and it'll reload it and put it there. Audio files, models, scripts, you name it. Unity's watching all that. That saves you the time of having to do some re-imports. I'm running really short on time, so I'm going to have to hurry through some of this. Let me show you the Unity remote. And hang on. What I've done is Unity Remote. Sorry, I got to stay with the mic, don't I? Unity Remote is a parallel application we provide for free. You can go download it from the App Store, or it's available, the full source code. Let me make sure I'm on the network. The full source code ships with Unity, so you can kind of test your Xcode project. And what it is, it's an application that you keep on your device, on your iPod or your iPhone, what I have here. And if it and the editor are on the same wireless network, they'll see each other. And not only will they see each other, but the remote will act as a remote and send wireless input back into the editor environment. So the screen right now, it keeps waiting for me to press some button. I love demos. It should show right there. Make sure I got this set. There it is. Okay. Okay. I'm going to walk over and use this. Whoever needs to do a switch to that, are they in here? Okay, never mind. Look in amazement. There it is. Unity's wirelessly sending kind of a low-res version of the game image. And I'm going to turn my back to you now, no offense, but watch while I drive the editor with my phone. So there were 3 camera control options. I just picked one of them. And then it's going to give me 2 dual thumb joysticks, which I'm now going to use here. And again, it's piping it all wirelessly into the editor. So I can do live previews without ever having to actually create the build, get it onto my device. I can go in here and tweak the speed of the player, go back and keep playing. Tweak it again, go back and keep playing. So again, the whole advantage here is it saves you time. You know, you might think, oh, this is only a couple of minutes I save when I want to test. Do that 10, 20, 50, 100 times over the life cycle of a project, and you're saving a lot of time in these small slices. And again, it's a free app that we provide for you. So, you know, you can just go download it or do the build yourself with the source code that's provided. So again, you know, this ease of use feature, just being able to test live in the editor, and then when you're done, you know, I hit the play button again to stop it, and you can go to the build menu, build settings. Unity works on a level basis. Maybe you have a 9-hole golf course, so it's 9 levels. You can choose to only do 3 for the light version if you want. And you just pick it, you say iPhone build. I just got this sign from the nice chap in back. That will, if you hit build and run, it will create an Xcode project, and then we will kick Xcode for you to actually then build that and install it on your device. Or you can take the Xcode project and insert your own Objective-C code into there. Like let's say you wanted to add some custom functionality. That's possible as well. You know, you want GPS access or Compass, right? We don't have Compass support right out of the box. You can do that on your own. So I'm going to blaze through this. Sorry, folks. I'm really sorry for this. Learning resources, there's a ton. Come to our website and find out. Find me outside, and I'll show you some more. Full manual ships with the product. We've got a bunch of resources online, tutorials, example projects, things that are full source for you to download. That Penelope project I was showing you, that's a tutorial on developing for the iPhone using Unity, so you can go pull that down for free and run through it all. The Unity community, I cannot speak highly enough of the community we have behind Unity. They are extremely helpful for each other, providing code, helping debug problems, you name it. It's awesome. And then we have our own yearly developer conference. It was held in San Francisco here just this last October. The next location and date are still being sorted out, but you can check our website for that. It's like a 3-day technical conference with a day of classes. And there's a magazine, there's a book with a couple others out on the way, third-party resources, a lot out there. And this is where I'm not going to do credit to these guys because I'm going to have to go fast through this because I want to get to the what's next. Success stories. You ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Ravensword, Fallen King. 2 guys. They spent about 6 months kind of working on it, back and forth. And they created a game that, made it to the top games list of 2009 on Apple's iTunes Rewind. Really cool kind of RPG game. It was a top seller. And did break into the top 10 list of top grossing games. So again, classic example, small team, shortest timeline, high rate of success. Samurai Way of the Warrior, 4 people working part-time. I mentioned Unity and Unity iPhone. 3 of these guys worked in Unity. 1 of them worked in Unity iPhone. These 3 were on Windows. This guy was on the Mac. So you can move assets and projects back and forth in between the 2. Right? So you're not like locking into one or the other. Again, playing into that author wants to deploy anywhere. And they did this part-time over about 4 months and created a game that, again, top seller, made it to the Apple iTunes Rewind. So pretty cool stuff, and it's a fun game. And then the biggie for us last year, Zombieville USA. It was like one of the top grossing, top selling apps. And in this case, team size, 1, development time, 5 weeks. And he made an app that I think he sold something like 1 million plus units on the App Store. And it's like a college kid, like talk about the dream, right? So, Unity enables this kind of stuff. And the other thing I want to point out about this, yes, we're a 3D engine. 2D games are very definitely possible. This is a 2D side scroller, if it was in a browser, you'd swear it was Flash kind of a thing. So you can do 2D game development as well. Don't box yourself in to just 3D. So what's next? I'm going to go quickly here because he keeps giving me the hand sign. iPad. We all heard this big announcement. And we are shooting for day 0 support so that when the iPads hit the store, Unity will be available with iPad support. If anyone from Apple is here, we would like an iPad, please. Okay. He didn't stand up. Might not be here. But we're shooting for it. It's going to be part of our existing product right now. You don't have to pay for that in any kind of upgrades. And if you go to our blog website, blogs.unity3d.com, there's one that's a few down called Unity and Mobile Part 2. The iPad cometh, and you can see we've got Steve Jobs. It's from Nicholas Francis, one of our company co-founders, and he talks about our plans there if you want more. Yesterday's big news. We announced Unity 3.0. Unity and Unity iPhone will be merged. We're going to have one application now. Our Unity Wii is going to be in there. You guys use Unity now, don't you? Yep. And then, of course, we also announced that we've got PlayStation support added onto our Wii and our ongoing Xbox support. And we announced Android is going to be coming as a supported platform. So, one tool, desktop and web, Mac and Windows, iPhone, iPod Touch, iPad, Android, Xbox, PlayStation, Wii. Download and retail channels on those. So we're really trying to get that broad spectrum of platform support. Some really cool things. The unified editor I just mentioned, Beast light mapping, supported on the iPhone. Source level debugging with mono develop, so you can actually step in, step over, that kind of stuff in Unity. Yeah. You guys use Unity? Audio improvements, things like echo and reverb. It's some cool stuff that we've just been short on. Deferred rendering is a pretty cool feature coming to the desktop and the web only. It's really neat. I wanted to mention it. Not the iPhone. Device can't handle it. And we're switching over to Umbra occlusion culling, which is just superior to the current occlusion culling solution we have now. And a lot more. What's more is if you go to our store and you buy a Unity license today, you're actually pre-purchasing a 3.0 license. It's not set to release until this summer sometime. But you'll get a current license to work with. When we ship, you get the free 3.0 license, and we're going to give you beta build access before we release. So you can kind of plan ahead for what we're doing. We're trying to be a little more open and transparent. So you don't have to wait till it comes out and then figure it out on day one. You can actually be looking at it for a good month or two ahead of time. So we think that's pretty cool. And And I am totally out of time, right? Yeah, so he just gave me the nod. So I was going to say you can ask me any questions, but if you don't mob, too bad. We can go out and go do it in the hallway. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the conference, everyone.